For the past months, the channel has been growing. We are having new subscribers to the channel that have been loving the show, V Game Masters, and now the new show Plug In. So we're going to say thanks to all of those people that have subscribed to their channel on this last month. These are the new subscribers. Well guys, back again with Metroid Other M, and once again we are focusing on X-Play review of the game. Why we're focusing on X-Play? Because I believe that that is one of the most irresponsible reviews ever. Unprofessional review ever. Now, this time we're going to take on controls for the game, which is one of the aspects that they do not talk very much on their review.
The review is actually like 3 minutes long, and 2 of those minutes is about the set system that we covered earlier.
Exactly.
And 1 of those minutes is about gameplay, and they actually omit a lot of the gameplay mechanics to just lower the score even more. And then she just complains about every aspect, you know, the ones that they talked about the whole gameplay mechanic. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the auto aim, like he had problems with the auto aim. I have no problem with the auto aim whatsoever.
There is no problem with an auto aim whatsoever. Now, she talks about the auto aim on the review, and when you're seeing the review, the part that she's talking about the auto aim, you can actually see that they're moving Samus all over, and they're just going like crazy
in circles and
stuff. Okay, all you have to do is just stay still
and shoot.
And shoot. That's it. Stay still. No, it's so easy, the auto aim, that there are parts of the game where you have to run through a corridor, and all you have to do is just run, and you have a lot of enemies coming at you. You don't have to stop. All you have to do is just keep going, keep shooting. That's what this whole playing all about. That you are playing like this, and all of a sudden you have to go like this, and all you have to go back.
And then you can't find the thingy that the reticle.
The aim. You can't find anything. Come on, that's bull crap. We played the game at the beginning. Okay, it was a little bit tricky, but you actually get used to it quite fast.
Yeah.
And it is so damn easy.
I got used to it. So I mean, all I have to do is point, and you can automatically lock on with the beat. You press all the people, and all you do is lock on, and that's good to go. That's all I got.
That's all. Exactly. She does a very good dash. The thing is that the dash works on the first person.
All you have to do is this, and she invades.
It's so easy to lock on. It is so easy to charge on the game side. I don't know what they're actually complaining about on the controller. It seems that they only played the first part of the game, and that was it. This auto aim.
I suck. I suck. Therefore, the game sucks. And that's what they did.
I really love the cutscenes in this game. There were a few cutscenes that you say, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Like the one when you see Ridley as a baby.
Yeah.
That he comes out in like a Red Bull, something like that. Nothing happens. All you see is him coming out. But there's a reason why you actually see that cutscene. Why? Because then you're going to learn later that is actually Ridley.
That cute little white guy.
It looks
it's
like
so adorable.
Looks like a gremlin.
It's adorable. I don't care. Who knew that little thing
it's going to turn into
epic galactic dragon.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, man. One of the things that X-Play love the most are shooters. And you can actually go to X-Play and see the show, and 75% of the show is always shooters.
Shooters.
And I'm not saying the shooters are bad. I really love shooters. There's a few shooters that I actually like. The only thing is that I suck on them. I suck big way. I'm not a lost shooter. But you don't see me trashing all shooters because I suck, like Abby did on this game. But there's one thing that actually I bet. If this game would have been like the Metroid Prime games, it was a shooter, they would have loved it. They wouldn't care that Samus would have to take orders from a man. They wouldn't care that Samus would actually moon her ass to all of us. She wouldn't care that the cutscenes were long or that. If the game would have been like Metro Prime, she would have loved it. I'm sure. We're gonna leave it like this on the controllers and everything. We're gonna continue discussing the game. We have one more segment. We'll continue to talk about Metro. So later. Okay, everybody. Last year, I actually answered a tag video that was about your favorite game controller. And I made my video back then, and I actually tagged a few people, and it actually caught very well with the entire community. But recently, I actually find out that that tag has resurfaced once again. And I saw a video from Sam the Todd, my good friend Adam, in which he was talking about some of his favorite controllers. But this time, I really wanted to talk to you from some different controllers that I have, which are, and it is the NES Max. This is the controller that I actually mentioned on my tag video response, because this is my favorite controller of all time. This controller was the best controller for the NES. Well, actually, in my opinion. The thing is that this controller is so freaking awesome because it is so damn comfortable for your hands. And even more, you didn't have that the D-pad, the normal D-pad, which is the cross directional pad, that sometimes actually gives you splinters on your fingers because of the edges of the D-pad. This controller actually has this disc over here where you actually rest your thumb and you actually move it around, and it looks great, it feels great. The game actually does respond very well with this controller. But the main reason why I like this controller so much is because these two buttons over here, this is the fastest turbo setting ever. I haven't found any other controller for the NES that has a faster turbo setting like this controller. Even though the NES Advance. Another controller that I want to take a look on is a very rare controller. This is a Pelican Nintendo GameCube Retro Pad. And this controller actually was made for the GameCube, so you actually play your Game Boy games on the GameCube with a more comfortable controller. This controller actually has the shape as an SNES controller, because as you can see, it has all the features of a GameCube controller minus the analog stick. This controller was completely awesome to play any Game Boy or Game Boy Advance games on your GameCube using your Game Boy player, or any game that was a fighter, any game that didn't use the analog stick. Now this controller, and last, I want to show this controller because this is the greatest controller ever made for the Sega Dreamcast, and it is the Netcast Fighter Pad. This controller was the best controller ever made for the Dreamcast for one reason, because of this. It has all 6 buttons on a frontal layout, and also has the triggers on the back. Actually resembles the normal Dreamcast controller, just a little bit bigger, but it has all the buttons right in the front, which was great for fighters. And as you know, back in the day, the Sega Saturn and the Sega Dreamcast was the perfect choice to have fighters. So if you want to try to play fighters on your Dreamcast, this is the controller to go, unless you have an arcade stick. Remember, this goes between $10 to $15 on eBay. So okay, this is Kaisen 7.
Kaisen, the geek central for all those who love anime and video games here in the island. It's no Comic-Con, but it's a great and amazing event. This is the 7th installment of Kaisen here in the island. It's a small convention, but we have it all. There's a lot to look around, many collectibles items and a lot of vintage stuff. Every year you actually see a lot of vintage toys and a lot of vintage game system. This year the system were in a minimum, but at least the ones that I found were in good condition, except the Game Gear that I actually bought for $20 we actually never turned on. I was surprised this year because there were many dealers that were selling items that they actually made by themselves, just like the sound wave that you just saw. Cosplay actually started to get a really big following here in the island. Not many video game characters this year, but the cosplay that I actually able to see on the convention this year was pretty cool. Here you can actually see my brother Nuki Romeo flirting with one of the girls on the stands. There were lots of anime collectibles, a little bit pricey, some of them were quite cheap. You can actually see my brother kicking ass on Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And the cosplay, after the day I went, there was a parade of Star Wars characters. So we actually have one of the Bible 1 Legion here in the island. There's a chapter here in the island. This is the Bio 1 chapter of Puerto Rico, and these people actually call themselves the Star Wars Fan Force, the Puerto Rico Star Wars Fan Force. But of course, the biggest highlight of the day was the cosplay competition. As you can see, these people actually know what they are doing. It's no Comic Con, but we actually have a lot of fun with Kaisen this year. I hope the next year it gets bigger. As soon as Nuki heard this song, he just ran off trying to get to the stage. I actually lost him in the crowd. But look, these people having so much fun.